started, I want to give all honor and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and salutation to the Akim that's pushing his word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, bringing in, teaching and bringing in the hopeful elect. All right, this is the brother Zion Ahmad from the GMS Detroit Bar Camp, and I'm just coming to you with another video dealing with. Basically, this is going to be touching on the chariots of the Most High. All right, so-called UFOs. All right, and I wanted to touch on a scripture, and I'm gonna just go to the point. All right, and this is in Isaiah 11 and 16. All right, basically when you read up, it talks about, it mentions Yahweh Shai as far as the root of Jesse, and then it goes into also basically the Israelites who became Gentiles by way of being scattered in different parts of the earth, right? And basically the Most High is going to gather, right? He's going to gather the scattered. He's going to gather the remnant of his people, all right? No matter where they may be, all right? He's going to gather the elect of those people being the so-called Negroes, Blacks, and Native Americans of today, all right? Basically, our bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And basically, due to the curses, all right, our people were scattered in different parts of the earth, all right? And Isaiah 11, it goes into that as far as us being scattered abroad in different lands, all right? And the Most High coming to redeem his elect, his chosen, right, before the world began. But just to go to this point here in verse 16, it mentions a highway, right? And what is that highway? So I'm going to read it. Now, this is Isaiah 11 and 16. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, right? The remnant, which is a buzzword for the elect, okay, of the nation of Israel. All right, the nation of Israel is the Lord's chosen people, all right? It says, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. Now, this is all like parabolic, okay, in a sense, because dealing with like Assyria, right? Like I say, prior to this scripture, it talked about Israel. In fact, I'll read up in verse 11. Okay, this is Isaiah 11 and 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time. Right, the first time being when he brought us out of the land of Egypt as a whole, all 12 tribes. All right, it says what he's going to do is yet again the second time, which is most notably going to be here in America, because all the tribes, although we've been scattered abroad, the great, I'll say, majority of all tribes, all 12 tribes, are in America, all right? You can find any one of the 12 tribes in America, okay? Which is the new Egypt, all right, a.k.a. Babylon, all right? It says, set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which should be left from Assyria, from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. You see that? Now, when we read down, so we know we're dealing with the scattered. We know the Most High is going to redeem, okay? He's going to recover his elect from all these different places, all right? Not just Assyria, but also Assyria is like a buzzword for America, all right? When you go into the prophecies, all right? When you go into the deeper, darker sayings, what the scriptures say, all right? The Most High may use another landmass as a, he'll use it to basically compare and contrast certain things that might have been going on in the past in a certain landmass of old, all right? It's, represents some of the same things that's happened basically in America today, all right? the most notable and easiest to understand and break down is being slavery, right? When it talks about in Revelation, in fact, let me get it real quick just to give you an example, right? This is Revelation 11:11, and it reads, "And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood." Let's see, no, Salaki, that's not what I wanted. Kind 11:8, Salaki. This is Revelation 11:8, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt." So now that is literally, all right, America's not literally called Egypt, all right, but it's a representation of Egypt and Sodom by way Egypt because of slavery, all right. That's one of the key traits, or key we just say events, all right, that tied us to Egypt being in slavery, all right, which that's proven just looking at the back of your $1 bill, all right, and Sodom by way of the gross homosexuality that goes on in America, all right. So going back to Isaiah 11:16, dealing with Assyria, all right, which is basically a representation of America, or a buzzword for America, just like Egypt, Babylon, Nineveh, Assyria, so on and so forth. All right, so they give you a hint and a clue, all right, because it says, "Like as it was to Israel in the day that they came up out of the land of Egypt." Now, how did we come out of the land of Egypt? All right, it's by the hand of Moses, and also the Most High, all right, guiding us, all right, out of Egypt, all right, away from those Egyptians, the Pharaoh and the Egyptians or whatnot, all right. We were guided by way of a so-called UFO, a chariot, right? So let's see, let's get that real quick. The pillar of fire by night and the cloud by day, that was a chariot, and that's how we were brought up out of the land of Egypt. And this is Exodus 13 and verse 21. "And Yahweh went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud," right? Which again is a great big ship. And basically, the ship was used as basically a covering, a shadow, a covering, I'll say, to block, to block out the intense heat of the sun, to keep us cool while we basically while we traveled and got up out of the land of Egypt, and then by night, dealing with the night, right? The chariots are able to emit basically heat or fire, concentrated fire, which is what we would call laser beams today, all right. And just the lights thereof of the chariot, just like you may see an airplane. An airplane, when you see it at night, it has many lights about it, right? The same concept, all right, dealing with a chariot. It has many lights about it, all right, which is able to provide heat, all right, in the night, okay? So anyway, that's how we were brought up out of the land of Egypt, by way of a great big chariot, or maybe even a host of chariots, But so going back to Isaiah 11:16, okay, that's how we were brought up, all right, out of the land of Egypt, all right, and it's going to be that same way here in America, all right. So basically, that highway, all right, is going to be the elect being caught up in the ships, all right. Just to tie that in, this is Acts. Let's see. This is Acts 1 and 10. Matter of fact, 1 and 9. And when he had spoken these things while they beheld, this is dealing with Yahweh Shai, all right? All right. It said, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud receded him out of their sight. All right, going back to that cloud again. All right. So if you can imagine, just like you have roadways, here in America, highways, this, that, and the other. All right. Basically, you even see it in some movies when so-called UFO cast like a beam of light. You know what I'm saying? That's basically a spiritual highway, from Earth to the heavens. They have the term that they use in Star Trek, beam me up, Scotty. Because that's what's going to happen with the elect. We're going to be beamed up, from this earth, all right, into the chariots. As the scripture saying, the twinkling of an eye. Now, I was kind of meditating on this because this actually was brought out at camp. I forget if it was this week or last week, but it made me think of the show. Right, you had this show called Highway to Heaven, right, with this so-called Jew, Michael Landon, or whatever, right? And I couldn't find the image, but I believe when I was a kid there was an image of this so-called Jew basically being, beamed up into the heavens. I don't know if they showed him going into a ship or whatnot, but just the concept, of, being beamed up. But moreover, just the title of the show, Highway to Heaven. Matter of fact, I pulled it up. But this guy was the star of that show, the so-called Jew. All right, Michael Landon. Let's see, this is the show. See, his father. All right, just to read down, I'm kind of just going through this, but it says here his father was Jewish, his mother was Roman Catholic. All right. Right, and the seed is determined by the father. All right, so he wasn't a real Jew. And see, that's what these fake Jews do in Hollywood. They put themselves in positions and in certain roles to paint themselves as being righteous, to paint themselves as being the children of the Most High, of being the chosen, of being God's chosen people, and this and that. And it doesn't matter how much you put on, how much deception you put out there, all right? When it comes down to it, you have to fit the curses, right? The curses denote who the people are, period, point blank, right? So, but anyway, this guy, he was on this show. If I can get it. This show here, Highway to Heaven, all right? I never really cared for it, never really watched it. But just the concept, highway to heaven, right? All right, and hey, our highway, our way out of this place, this wicked ass kingdom, it's gonna be those chariots. All right, so just to go back and show, this is Acts 1 and 9, and when he had spoken these things while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Now, when you look up in the heavens, in the sky, you can see clouds. You just look up. They're all about. Right? But in this scripture, it mentioned a cloud receiving them out of their sight. So, with their naked eye, they couldn't see. Basically, he was out of eyesight, out of their view, right? So this lets you know that it had to be a chariot that was way high in the heavens, way above the clouds even. All right. It says, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which are angels, by the way, which by the way, the so-called, or not even so-called, but the angels are so-called black men, all right? Just to be clear, all right? Don't believe what Esau is put out here with, his iconoclasm and, his Hollywood nonsense. Even in this show, with Highway to Heaven, right? The premise of this show, I believe this guy, Michael Landy, he's supposed to be an angel, right? That's what this show is basically based upon. I think, let me see if I can find it real quick. What's the premise of this Highway to Heaven? Yeah, so the guy, Michael Landy, he played the role of Jonathan Smith. It says he is an angel who was once a man who lived on earth named Arthur Thompson, who had been stripped of his wings and is now on probation sent on earth. See, this is nonsense. All right? Okay. I mean, in a way, they got it right because, us, or the hopeful elect, we're basically like we've all been here before. And yes, we are angels basically bound in these bodies, if you will, So they kind of got it right, but nonetheless, and ain't no so-called Jews. No so-called Jews are, they're not the Lord's people, all right? That should have been a role more appropriate for a Jake, for a so-called Negro, all right? Because the Lord, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he was a so-called Negro, a so-called black man, so you can understand, all right? That would have been more appropriate for him, all right? But, just to go back, all right, it said, this is verse 10, and while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, right, toward heaven, that highway to heaven, right, it said, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahweh Shai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. See that? So just the way the Most High went up, was beamed up into heaven, that highway to heaven, in that chariot, the Most High is going to come back in that same, Yahweh Shai is going to come back in that same fashion. Right? And he's going to beam us up in that same fashion. Lord willing, we be of that number. Right? He's going to beam up the elect in those chariots when the thermonuclear missiles, right, are fired upon America. All right? In that same instance, all right, you're going to be seeing chariots, all right, show up, and they're going to be beaming up the elect. And that's going to be our way out. All right? That's going to be our highway to heaven. All right? So, with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. And with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that ruled well, and peace and salutation to the icon that's pushing his word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom.